So, und damit hallo liebe Leute, willkommen zu einem neuen Video von Remains of Edith Finch. Ja, wir sind da genau da, wo wir letztes Mal aufgehört haben.
I can't describe it, but I felt like some part of Molly was still here.
Wir sind ja jetzt mit Edith in dem Haus von den Finches. Und zurzeit gerade in dem Haus von... in dem Zimmer von... Molly. Guck mal, hier sind sogar die Sachen. Hier ist ein Hai. Hier ist dieser Tintenfisch. Oder Monster, menschenfressende Monster. Ja, hier hast du sogar noch die Eule. Mit der Katze. Das Kaninchen. Ein Vogel. Oh, jetzt haben wir einen Ameisenbau. Ja, Goldfische sind mehr da. Molly. Gut. Ja, dann haben wir letztes Video ein bisschen Mollys Träumen gespielt, oder was auch immer das war. Ach, durch die Tür komme ich ja nicht. Soll ich ins Zweizimmer? Ja. Ich werde hier runterspringen, ja? Ja, keine mehr. Schlecht Wetter.
This will be obvious later, but my mom never told me any of these stories. Edie would have, but Mom didn't like bringing up the past. Though, when we adopted a stray kitten, she was the one who named it Molly.
Die war eine Katze. Was ist da unten für ein Kram, alle? Ja, das Schlafzimmer der Eltern. Oder ihre Großeltern.
I spent a lot of time in Great-Grandma Edie's room.
Uroma Edi. Die hatte wohl einen flimmigen Vogel, ne? Eine Schlange. Bob. Burpee. Der Name. Ja, die hatte wohl einen... War auch die Quälerei. Kein Carefree. Burpee. Da war eine X drin. Ist klar. Nicht.
Edie gave a big interview about a mole man living under the Finch house. My mom was furious.
Maulman. Maulwurfmann unter dem Haus. Ist klar. Schauen wir den hier. Edith Dr. Lake Trip.
I hadn't thought of myself as Edith Jr. for a long, long time.
Edith Junior. Ach, Junior. All die concepts. Edie won't go.
One summer, they evacuated the island, but Edie refused to go. For a few weeks, she was a celebrity.
20-year-old woman refused to evacuate because of a little forest fire. Ach, wegen einem Waldbrand. 1937 von Edith Finch gebaut.
When Edie told people Sven was killed by a dragon, she could also have said he was building a dragon-shaped slide that collapsed. She could have, but she didn't.
Ach, eine Drachenrutsche hat ihn gekillt. Ja, moin. Da muss er. Dragon kills Finch. Runtergefallen hat. Die Zwerge von Schneewittchen.
Even in her 90s, sometimes Edie seemed a lot younger than my mother.
Happy 90. Geburtstag. Ja.
Edie knit me a new pair of gloves every year, just in time to replace the old ones. Louis died a week before we left, but Edie had already started to memorialize him.
Louis? Wer ist denn nochmal Louis?
Her room was like a museum.
Odin. Was war denn an Odin? Er da? Odin Finch joined the Great Majority.
For 500 years, the Finches have been famous throughout Norway for their fortune. And misfortune.
In Norwegen spielt das also.
Odin Finch buries the latest victims of the family curse, his wife Ingeborg and their newborn son, Johann.
Johann.
On January 7th, 1937, he set sail with his family and his house, hoping to leave the curse behind.
Es war ein Hausboot. Oder was?
But 40-foot waves off the coast of Washington send the house and Odin to the bottom of the sea.
Okay. Erinnert mich ein bisschen an die Geschichte von oben. Wo es alles hier auf dem Meer ist.
Odin's daughter Edie, with husband Sven and baby Molly, step ashore on their new home, Orcas Island.
Orcas Island. Okay.
Odin Finch is the first to be buried in the new family cemetery.
Ach, das ist ja da hinten. Am Steg. Da sind die beiden Figuren.
His daughter Edie is already dreaming of a new Finch house.
Okay. Odin.
Whatever's wrong with this family, it goes back a long ways.
Ingeborg, Odin, Molly. Sam, Kelvin, Barbara, Molly. Sven. Edie. Okay. Gut. So, die kann ich eh nicht. Irgendjemand da. Parfum und Tabletten. Ja, das gehört wirklich einer alten Frau hier. Und überall diese Zwerge. Alter. Jo, ey. Moin, wer denn bitte so ein
The only
Badezimmer?
trace Grandpa Sam's first wife Kay left on the house was the pink bathroom. It was a pretty big trace.
Alter, Vater, ey. Ja, moin, ey. Spielt der Frosch? Hängt noch eine alte Lesebrille. Ne? Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Pillendose. Irgendwie auch so Figuren. Lego oder Playmobil. Der Spiegel funktioniert aber nicht. Was ist denn hier los? There's a secret in this bathroom.
There's a secret in this bathroom. It's in the last place you would look. It isn't in the cupboard. It's hidden in this book.
Kelvin Finch.
Sven gave Sam an old camera he'd refurbished. He never put it down.
Okay, das ist so eine alte Fotokammer. So eine negative. Milton. Milton war auch hier schon. Also von Sams und Calvin. Der eine Wälder und der andere Amerika und Jagd, weiß ich nicht. Fort Sam. Fort Calvin. Ein Soldat und ein Astronaut. Ja, die Brücke ist aber kaputt. Ja, cool, sowas. Endless.
I knew Grandpa Sam had a twin. And that he never talked about him.
Weil er gestorben ist.
I guess my grandpa didn't like history any more than my mom did.
Calvin. 1950, 1961 mit 11.
How I Want to Remember My Brother by Sam Finch. The thing I remember is that when he made up his mind, that was it.
Ja, den gebrochenen Bein. Komm, machen wir richtig hoch. Was machst du eigentlich mit dem einen Bein?
My brother said he'd die before he ate another mushroom. And he did. At Barbara's funeral, we swore we'd never be afraid again. And he wasn't. I think Calvin always wanted to fly.
Ja, ich kann mir ja vorstellen, was passiert.
But that day, he finally made up his mind to do it. I told him going around was impossible. Maybe if I hadn't said that, maybe if the wind hadn't picked up. Then maybe he'd still be here. But I doubt it. I think he'd already made up his mind. That's what I want to remember about my brother.
Boah, alter Vater.
The day he made up his mind to fly. And he did.
Calvin's story felt strangely familiar. When I was younger, I remember trying to do the exact same thing.
Tja, so waren Jugendliche, ne? Aber wer hat nicht probiert, mit der Schaukel einmal rumzugehen? Calvin.
After the funeral, Edie roped off Calvin's half of the room.
Aber ich glaube an Sams Stelle, ey, ich könnte ihn nicht schlafen. Das würde mich jetzt zu viel an meinen Bruder erinnern hier. Für eine Geheimgang gibt's denn hier bitte? Wie cool sind die denn gemacht?
The passages were a pretty tight fit. They'd obviously been built for smaller hands and bellies.
Was bin ich hier im Flur? Wilden. Barbara Finch.
Growing up, I always thought of Barbara as a child star.
Hollywood Star. Über Auszeichnung, okay, ich habe sogar eine Probe von ihr. Wahrscheinlich gab es so diesen einen Film, vielleicht zwei, und dann wartet mit der Karriere. Ist oft so. My friend Bigfoot.
I never thought about how hard it must have been for her afterwards.
Ich weiß, sie mit 16 gestorben. 44 bis 60. Bigfoot. Dreadful Stories.
Of all the stories people wrote about Barbara's death, I'm surprised Edie saved this one.
Old Jack here with another ghastly tale inspired by America's most unfortunate family. I'm calling it The Surprise Ending of Barbara Finch. As a child star, Barbara was famous for her scream. Now at 16, she was all washed up, a has-been. But in a lucky break, she'd been asked to perform her signature scream at a local convention for monster movie fans. It was just the boost her career needed. Unfortunately, her scream hadn't aged well.
Getting better. I think you just need the right motivation.
Her biggest fan and current boyfriend, Rick, was about to demonstrate when...
Now that was a great scream.
It was Barbara's father, Sven. He'd slipped into a table saw and had to be rushed to the emergency room. So Barbara got stuck babysitting her youngest brother, Walter. Her convention comeback was cancelled.
Okay, I'm hearing frustration, but I'm not hearing terror. What if I tried...
A gang of hoodlums in Halloween masks have been terrorizing Orcas Island tonight. Police are urging residents to...
That came from the basement.
You're right! Also, I loved your delivery on that. Why is your basement door locked?
Because my dad likes making puzzles and secret passages. There's a key hidden in the music box. The secret is to keep winding and winding until finally the key pops out.
Thanks, babe. I'll be back in a sec.
20 minutes later, Rick hadn't returned. So Barbara went to look for him, right on cue. She reached for the music box. And as she wound the key, she listened for Rick, but the house was silent.
Die Musik kennt man doch.
She found Rick's crutch and imagined the worst.
Ich vergesse die Musik immer, Alter. Der Exorzist oder so? Exorzismus? Halloween.
infamous Hookman killer, Dr. Carl Hamill, who impaled and then ate his family 10 years ago tonight.
Und aß. Ja, moin.
The old fridge rattled and grew still.
Oh dear!
Oh!
Rick?
Barb, relax. I was just trying to scare you to help you find your scream.
Well, I'm not scared, Rick. I'm furious.
Then act furious. All I'm getting from you now is that you're hurt and confused and you're...
She threw him out, but she kept a little something to remember him by.
Barb, have you seen my other crutch?
And she was still holding it when she fell asleep watching the late picture show. Hours later...
Barbara! Walter, what's going on up there? Ah! Okay, I'm coming up, but if this is a trick, you're dead, Walter.
Alter, wieder spielen. Wo hing sogar noch so ein... Ah, diese Art noch ein bisschen anders aus hier. Halloween, ja. Oh, du dummes Skelett. Komm her, du böses Skelett. Bam. Der geht nicht. Ah, entspann dich.
Walter, are you there? Walter had vanished, but his bedside radio was still on.
Orcas Island police describe the man as 6 feet tall, with a steel hook for a hand. Residents are urged to lock all doors and windows and notify the police of any suspicious activity.
Barbara turned, saw the hook man, and was speechless. He was quite smashing.
Zack.
And here he was. He couldn't get enough of Barbara.
Okay, Barbara, there's gotta be another way out of here.
That night, she played her part beautifully.
Also hier Mollys Haus.
Molly's door hadn't been opened in years. The hinges groaned. He wasn't moving, but she sensed the story might not be over yet.
Dann gehen wir mal runter und besiegen ihn. Jetzt ist er wahrscheinlich weg. Diese? Haben wir gedacht, wo ist der so? Nein.
The hookman had vanished. She listened for his breathing, but all she heard was... Someone at the door
Ja.
was dying to speak to young Barbara. At the door, she heard whispering. It was coming from inside the house.
dear.
Bravo, Barbara! You were wonderful!
The monsters had come to surprise her. For Barbara, it was a dream come true. Then she saw what kind of monsters they were, and she realized what was about to happen. She was going to be famous. And with her final breath, Barbara Finch gave the performance of her life. I wasn't there myself, but I hear Barbara was magnificent. Poor girl. She had a taste for stardom. But unfortunately, so did her fans. Of course, the police blamed it all on poor Rick, who disappeared the same night. And little Walter, hiding under his bed the whole time. He took it all pretty hard, but that's another story. As for Barbara, tucked inside the music box is all they ever found of her. Her ear. Now that's what I call a real eerie tale.
Ja, alles klar.
Edie told me all Barbara wanted was to be remembered, as absurd as that comic was. Maybe what Edie saw was a happy ending.
Trotzdem starb sie mit 16. Ob das jetzt so strange war, glaube ich eher nicht. Kuchen, der sich hingammelt. Auf jeden Fall können wir jetzt in den Keller.
I guess now I know why Mom didn't like me playing with the music box.
Ist so. Gut, so liebe Leute, ich würde mal sagen, bevor ich jetzt in den Keller gehe, beende ich mal das Video. Schön, dass ihr mit dabei gewesen seid. Dass ihr Bock drauf hattet. Und wenn es euch auf jeden Fall gefallen hat, dann lasst auf jeden Fall gerne einen Daumen nach oben da. Ich würde mich sehr drauf freuen.
Mom must have locked the third floor stairs on the night we left.
Würde mich sehr drauf freuen oder gerne abonniert mich auch. Das wäre natürlich genauso cool. Vergesst halt nur nicht, die Glocke zu aktivieren. Dann verpasst ihr auch gar nichts mehr an meinen Videos. Ja, und dann würde ich sagen, im nächsten Video gehen wir dann mal in den Keller. Gucken, was uns da erwarten wird oder erwartet. Wir wissen ja jetzt endlich, wo der Schlüssel ist. Ist ja... Hey, komm nicht runter. Sehr gut versteckt. Guck mal, hier ist Sonne, auf der anderen Seite ist dunkel. Gut. Ja, wenn ihr Bock drauf habt, dann seid auch wieder gerne beim nächsten Mal dabei.
It's funny. All those times I played with the music box and never found the basement key.
Sonst war ja auch kein Durchgang, ne? War schon ein bisschen anders hier. Aber gut. Ja, wie gesagt, wenn ihr Bock drauf habt, dann seid gerne mit dabei. Ich würde mich auf jeden Fall sehr darüber freuen. Und dann würde ich sagen, wünsche ich euch jetzt auch noch einen schönen Tag. Bis dahin und schön mit Öl.